Oh, we get to sponsor things.
Oh.
Vikendi, this was a fun one last time. Let's see if this one kind of pops off again, and the plane is going to start basically the same plane, except it's starting over the winery and going to Trevno this time instead of the other way around. So we'll see if the circle wants to do something similar. I kind of doubt we're going to have another brutal southwest circle. All of our circles so far have been southwest. Let's see if we can roll the dice a little bit here, Valdez, to get something a little different going. I want a little variety in my PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, I mean, I know Southwest sauce is a good sauce at Subway, and the airline is pretty good too. But I'd like to see something else here on this map as well. I'm 100% with you, and again, we have to wait and see like which one of these storylines is going to come true. Can Elementrix with the famous Poopa Man come in here and pick up another win on top of a lot of the kills that they kind of missed out on in the first map, even though they did get the chicken dinner? Or, well, speaking of which, we are going to have a bit of a...
Oh, Beowulf.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got to be pretty careful. Now, they could opt to try to go back for it. They're not going to. I figured once, you basically get one shot at that with the UAZ. It's not very fast. The turn radius isn't great on it. So you get one chance to try to run him over. But if your opponent has cover, they can pretty well avoid that disaster for themselves. So Beowulf, he's out. He's good. Everything's fine here. And Elementrix heads west.
Yeah, I got to hand it to Beowulf, not crumbling under the pressure there and just saying, no, I know exactly how to play against this UAZ. A lot of other players might just tense up and not make the right play, but in the end, did the right thing. So we talked about circles. Let's see what is going to come in here. It looks like kind of in the middle here, paper thin.
Yeah, pretty much middle. So it's a little bit weird for some of the teams that are on the east side or the northeast side. And the first team to get to Mount Kresnik is probably going to be a little bit happy early on. They can get some information there. Kind of almost plays a bit like the mountain that's southeast of Georgia Pole in a way. So you can get some information up there, and there's actually loot up on there, which is where it's a little different from the mountain southeast of Georgia Pole. And it looks like maybe Entity Gaming might have the ability to come in through there. It's open right now. See if anybody wants to rush on down there, try to get on in. But mostly it's a pretty fair circle. So this time I feel like, and maybe I'll jinx it here, but for sure this might be one of those ones where you have 12 teams around circle 6, 7, and then things get real bloody real fast.
We did see a bit of that even on Erangel, with the interesting circles we had mostly on the west side, but then once it did go to phase 4, phase 5, it was just bouncing back and forth. It was like a madhouse over there on that map. So we'll see what the map decides to give to these teams, but I feel like the international teams overall are not going to be gunning right to the middle, as we saw a bit from the MENA teams in the first couple of games. Yeah,
and you can see things are a little more level here with the international teams. The level of play is much higher and much more even, as a lot of these teams have been duking it out over the course of the year, trying to make their way into the split finals and win all that prize money. But this is coming through on that snowmobile, which is a dangerous vehicle as things goes on. Early on, not so bad, but my goodness, later on, I do not like that thing. It is slow and it is exposed, so avoid that late game at all costs, ladies and gentlemen. It is not good.
Absolutely. As we're taking a look here at ETG, Entity Gaming. We know that Jason was calling them out there in between games. This is a team we do want to keep our eye on here, especially for map number 2 on Vikendi. Over towards Cosmodrome, it did look like there to start us off, so we'll be towards the northeast side of the circle.
Yeah. ETG, we'll see. They're definitely a favored team, of course. I mean, there's any team that I feel like got 10th place or better at the fall split grand finals is definitely in the running here. They're definitely good enough to compete. The point spread after you got below Bigatron tightened up pretty well in those top 10s. So there's a lot of room to maneuver, and that might be a kill here for Rogue. He's gonna leap over that wall. Looks like he was able to catch Eagle, who was trying to bomb into this compound. That is another devastating loss for Top Esports.
That's a mistake you do not want to make early on, just losing one of your guys as he is out scouting. The rest of top eSports just going to run with their tail between their legs and say, we will come back to fight another day. But we've seen so many firefights, 4-on-3, teams that push extremely aggressively once you get that first knock, and that's going to be TES for the rest of the game, essentially.
Well, it's kind of what happens with these 1-3 splits, this high risk, high reward. When you send one player way out of the other team to do the scouting, a lot of times you can get a ton of information for free and you don't, risk losing 2, 3, 4 players in transition, but you can lose one early on. Like we've seen here, that does happen from time to time, and that's the difficult part about playing that recon role, is doing the recon safely, getting ahead of the rest of your team safely. In this case, I just assume Eagle thought that was safe, and for whatever reason, he just didn't have the right information. They didn't scout properly or something like that, and he gets caught out, and that's really not what you would expect from this Chinese team.
For sure, and we're taking another look here at Box Gaming. They are just camping it up right in the middle there, trying to loot whatever they can in that one compound, but not the greatest performance in map number 1, even though they did talk a lot of trash, talking about how you should be scared of their team. We'll see if they can bring it home for Vietnam this time around.
Yeah, they've got that nice center circle location, as does EGC from Korea. We saw them have a very good round for themselves. They're very centered up here. And the first circle, though, doesn't matter too much. They can very much bounce around like we were talking about. It's like a little kid in a bouncy house.
Yep.
Just left, right, on your head, on your back. Doesn't matter where you go. And eventually it'll find a home, but starting out center is nice, but it doesn't always mean that that's where things are going to go. The Red Canids watching, member of Unique go by. Ooh, they're going to find the knock on the headshot there onto Rogue. So Rogue gets a kill, but then gets found out. Can they get the revive here? He's got a rock to work with, or are the Red Canids going to pounce on top of this? No, it is going to be Rogue, who does get confirmed by Marco.
That's a rough spot. Once again, just trying to drive on through, but getting sniped out there with the headshot by Red Canids. We didn't see Red Canids all too much in game number 1, but it's either getting aggressive, they're shooting at all the cars, and now they're pushing on in to try to clean it up, what they started.
Yeah, they don't want Unique anywhere around this. Maxon does trade 1-for-1 here with Unique. Natowski coming around with his own micro Uzi, trying to see if he can get inside the house. He catches the backside of Old Boy. Old Boy comes around and gets another knock for himself, but he does end up getting found out. A dangerous push here for the Red Canids, and they have one member. Now they have one member standing, as Box is now getting in on this action, so some early hyper-aggression from these teams.
So many teams just heard the action, and they're like, okay, let's get in there, pick off some kills. If you can just get a couple of free kills from outside when you're not even fully committing, essentially for free, that is the money right there. And we saw a lot of teams, they heard the shots fired and they wanted to get in on the action. A lot of teams picking up kills in there, but no team specifically going down.
Keep in mind, Kitsune did get away from this fight for Unique, and this is not, once again, how this Russian team wanted to start this. We said at the beginning, they're considered probably the strongest team in Europe. Oh boy, careful. It's okay. just moving them around a little bit, just using those tires to push them up and in there, and they're going to be able to get Max in. It looks like, I'm a little shocked here that Box maybe didn't think about trying to push down that hill, but maybe they didn't feel like it was worth getting a little over aggressive. Yeah. And in fact, there's no rage coming up on the backside of them. So I think that might be a wise decision for now.
Yeah, it's a good idea. As I was talking about before, snipe out a couple of kills, but you don't have to fully commit. And that's exactly what they did go for here, as Ga and everybody on the side of Box are fully capable and alive right now, looking for a couple of kills now onto no rage that is in that compound.
Yeah, and you can see this is exactly why Box didn't decide to push on down on the Canids, despite knowing full well that the Canids got very beat up in that fight with Unique. So they had to play defense, because if they moved forward, then potentially no rage comes up behind them, and it just turns into this, this cannibalistic fight where each team is just jumping on the backside of the other. And the Canids, I quickly saw one of their members had a ton of heals and utility, so they should be pretty all right. Kind of get things up and running again. QUESO, saw them moving around a lot, but didn't get a ton of kills in that last game. And they can rotate well, but they got to find a way to pick up some kill points along the way. As we talked about, those are oh so precious in this format. And Loki shooting some SLRs up on top of that rock. And not really doing too much. He's got to be careful because eventually the Canids and No Rage are going to be able to see him up there.
Yeah, it's kind of a triangle of fighting going on between these three teams as we return to Top Esports, our Chinese favorite team. And they have been struggling so far. 0 kills after the early death by their teammates. And looks like they're going to be banking it on just trying to stay alive for as long as possible and not really taking those firefights early on.
Yeah, they're going for more of an edge position. They haven't crossed the river yet, but they could if they want to. Pretty soon, I think they're just going to wait for this circle to show itself and then start making their way in. Football East is on their west. They're up by Mount Kresnik. They're the ones who kind of decide to opt to go for that. But, oh, this is what I'm talking about. You got to be careful. Loki gets spotted out now. Should be maybe be able to get that res there. Nice shooting by Billy. And yes, indeed. That is, but that's not what you want, because each time you get knocked, of course, you die faster. And that's not the greatest. It's one notch in the belt there for him. Try and recover from that. And that's why you got to be real careful up on those high ground positions. Yes, it's amazing. You can see a lot, but that also means that a lot of people can see you.
Yeah, it can be rough. Great shot. You really got to hand it to Billy, as you were talking about. It's not really a big mistake that Loki did make, just a bit of a firefight that he did end up losing. So might think twice about going toe-to-toe with Billy the second time around, as we do have that circle closing on in. Very close to seeing what the next one will be.
Yep, we're just looking at Elementrix, of course, our Game 1 Chicken Dinner winners, who are looking to repeat if possible. Crates are coming down, one on the west side, one kind of more centrally located. We're going a little bit north, a bit of a hard shift here on this second circle, but most of the team's already in this, so this one could be, we'll see if anybody wants to try to push towards Villa, where Kitsune is. He's all alone, the last surviving member of Unique. And otherwise, things might be a little quiet. There is that Almond there. We saw, I believe it was Bear, who was doing some work with that last time. Wasn't able to get a confirmed kill with it, but got a couple big knocks. That, of course, that's what you want out of that AWM. Get that early knock and set your team up for those team fights.
Well, we're moving over here as teams are beginning to just sidle on over towards the middle of that circle. Red Canids, they're getting a lot of screen time this time around, as in the game 1 they did not quite get that. Maxon already 1 kill, looking to lock down Team Box Gaming.
Well, yep, the Canids and RRQ and No Rage, Box, all are kind of in the middle of this. EVOS up here as well. So this is kind of where, if there's going to be any action, this might be the area where it happens. Otherwise, not much going on. Potentially Entity Gaming might run into Football East, but I don't think so. I think Football East is they're pretty tight right now, and Entity's wrapping around the north of them on Mount Kresnik, and so things are going to slow up a little bit here. There isn't much that's going to, that teams are going to want to risk here until they see that third circle, maybe even the fourth circle, is when really you can start kind of more predicting where the next circle is going, or at least try to get center so you give yourself a statistically better advantage in terms of catching those next circles.
Now we're taking a look here at Elementrix. It looks like just chilling there at the top of the hill for now, but have to make some moves, as we saw them kind of edge playing the first time around, maybe a little bit more aggressive here. C9 uneven, taking a look at him, and as I say that, Elementrix making their move, and they're not wasting any time.
All right, so they've decided that they want to get ahead of this situation, and they are going to bomb on over to Tovac and take up the southwestern side of this. They're uncontested so far. Got to be careful on those snowmobiles, of course. But right now, nobody's really over there to take advantage of this, and they're just going to rock right on. No fear here. They're just like, yep, good enough. Let's get more center. Let's try and see if we can replicate our success from the first game. But they want this spot that Box is already set up on. This could be dangerous for both of these teams.
Yeah, great timing by Elementrix to make their play in here. Now they've got Box a little bit split up, but are they going to have enough time, and can they afford to be aggressive enough to try to pick one by one off? Looks like for now, Orange getting in the vehicle once again, so perhaps considering it here.
Yeah, I don't know if they've caught any members of Box in their sights. Like, have they seen anybody? Do they know that Box is here yet? It's hard to say for sure. They're just setting up these UAZs in the safest places they can. Like I talked about earlier, you want to keep those vehicles from getting their tires shot out and all those other kind of things. And Poo Poo Man probably saw C9 up there on the hill, so he's just going to stay prone, keep C9 from getting an angle onto him, and just keep the information available for his team so they can try to make the best decision they can going into the next circle. As we're just biding our time. This one takes a little bit to close on up here, and right now, Junior throws some Molotovs, but he hasn't caught anybody. Okay, he's going to come around the corner. He takes some damage. Can he outduel? Yes, indeed. He is going to find Guh. And oh, but now Louis is coming up to give him some help with that silenced micro Uzi. Is Orange going to be able to come in and kind of return the favor? But Junior does get killed, eliminated. So that's one member down here for Elementrix.
Yeah, I like the original aggressive play, but it looks like he didn't really know that the enemy was there in the player from Box. So now he goes down. The rest of his teammates are like, come on, mate, we weren't ready for that one. And you were talking about it before. Did they even know that the enemy was nearby? Seems like the answer was no.
Yeah, or at least didn't expect them to be in that tunnel necessarily. And the grenades are too little too late. You can easily back off around that corner, so you can't bounce a grenade around there. So Box doing all right for themselves with 3 kills so far. They've been in the thick of it a little bit, as much as you can be in the thick of it so far in this game. And that's what you need. You need all these points you can get trying to get to that finals. Remember, only 8 teams out of our 16 are going to make it there. And in this group especially, you really want to be one of the 8 teams, because you got to feel good about your chances if you can make it to that final day.
Yeah, Box once again picking up 3 kills early. I believe they did a similar thing in map number 1. So once you get a couple of kills under your belt, you really don't have to rush things. You can take angles and play positionally, and I'm glad to see that they're doing exactly that so far.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from Box here. We're seeing some of our teams that maybe we thought were underdogs performing well. Box, Elementrix. So that's cool to see. Now can we see some of our superstars step up is Top Esports. You know, again, they lost another member early on here. They're 3 strong. Now everybody's just kind of positioning themselves, getting ready for these tighter circles when things get really, really intense. But there's still a ton of compounds, a ton of real estate inside of this circle. So there isn't going to be much action to be found, most likely. You're just kind of inching forward, trying to jockey for position a little bit, seeing if you can dislodge somebody from a rotation route, maybe. Exactly what I'm talking about here. ETG, they're like, nope, we can't do this right now, so they're just going to back off. Bye-bye.
Yep, see you later. And I like it, you know, they didn't overcommit. They're just sending out probes, not getting anyone knocked or killed, and having to commit to a fight or anything like that. They do regroup, they find a different compound, and they're just going to chill out there for now.
Yeah, what's funny about all of this is Kitsune is kind of somewhere around all of this between ETG and EGC, and he's just by himself outside of the villa just waiting. And okay, Box does decide to leave Tovach and leave Elementrix to their own devices. Red Cannons aren't really able to make them pay too much for that. Now they're taking some damage. Now Louis, it's actually going to be C9's Beowulf who's going to find him. Now Maxon's seeing if he can find the foot onto Louis. Louis is able to get just far enough around that corner. Smokes are going to come down, trying to get Maxon up and running again. And we'll see if he is indeed able to do that. Comes out the window, meets his friend, and I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah, getting a good angle here and just making sure they have cover. So doesn't look like Louis is going to take too much damage at the end of it. Crate nearby, it seems like, towards the east side of the new circle, but very out in the open, so might be a rough one for any of these teams to make a play at.
Yeah, curious to see if RRQ wants to try to make a play at that. Here comes Goskilla, who had a very nice round in the back of, you know, the one guy, the one man who was left for, or excuse me, Yasha for Unique was over there. He went against Cloud9, but Goskilla, that was a different situation for them. And that was Gonzo, who is also not my favorite Muppet. I was going to say that, and then I was like, nope, that's not true. Favorite Muppet, Valdez.
Yeah, I like the Grouch.
The Grouch.
Yeah, he's a good one for me.
The Grouch.
He's very realistic.
Who's the one
Big
that?
fan.
And I can't even remember the name of my favorite. The one that plays the piano.
The Count?
No. No. Muppets. No, you're thinking of Sesame Street.
Oh, okay.
No. The
Wait,
one
is
with the big
Grouch
floppy
also
ears.
from Sesame Street? Might be.
I think they,
Not sure.
Well, there's like some crossover there. Like Kermit's in both, and like
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. The one that plays the piano, I can't remember. I like him. Or the Doctors, Beaker and Bunsen.
Yeah.
They're awesome. Anyway. Top eSports along the river, moving along the side here. They're going to try to get, I'm curious to see how they want to approach this circle. There is that bridge over there. The red cannons are going to be waiting in the compound that is to the west, and we have found it thanks to our hero, Jason. It is Ralph. That's right, Ralph the dog. That is it. Thank you, Jason. You're my hero. He's pretty awesome. I liked music as a kid. So
Yeah. Big fan myself. As GoSkilla in a bit of trouble, has teams ahead of them, behind them. Not much cover as well around these tents.
Yeah, there just isn't a lot going on over here for GoSkilla. The tents are nice. They block bullets. You would think in theory that cloth shouldn't block bullets, but hey, maybe it's Kevlar tents.
There you go.
Yeah, let's go with that. Those aren't a thing, but now they are, I say. And the circle hard shifts down to the southwest. So C9 liking this. Elementrix, once again, having a good time with the circle. The Japanese team, ARW, very happy about this as well. I want to keep my eyes on Box because there are a ton of teams on the northeast part of this circle, and Box is the lone team up on the northeast part of the circle that is still in. So they have a lot of defense to potentially play.
Some teams happy with the circle, just going to lock it down. You can see no raids. Lutz immediately taking advantage of EVOS, making that rotation towards the circle here.
They didn't really get much damage down in there. It looked like he had the potential to maybe get one or two members of EVOS in transition. Here goes RRQ, right out and ahead of all of this. They are the first ones to make the rotation out of all these Northeast teams. They might be the beneficiary of all of that, and they do find themselves a compound. Take some damage along the way, but that's okay. Somehow Kitsune is up and through here as well. This guy is just finding incredible ways to survive. We haven't even lost a team yet, Valdez, and he's doing everything he can to, fight and claw his way through. But a lot of people are going to be setting up inside of Tovach. There are a ton of compounds available. But if I'm one of these teams, I'm really looking to get the northwest part of Tovach, because the circle's most likely going to bounce that way outside of the city. That's the most likely, and therefore you can play gatekeeper there. You get all the information on the outside. Usually you want to be on the edges of the cities if possible.
Take a look at VIP just holding down the mountain. We've seen some teams do that well, others not so much. Top eSports, rough position here, being shelled from, it looks like, multiple different angles, and now they have to get inside the circle, but a knock to start us off.
All right, that is going to be one down. There's other battles starting to rage out. So I was saying this circle tightens up. There were too many outside of it, and they've got to get in. Top eSports is taking a bunch of damage from the circle. They've got the US. I don't know if they have enough time to get in here. They are very, very hurt. I'm not sure. This is going to, yes, indeed, they are going to find death. They cannot get through. Footballist is eliminated in the back of all this as well, and you can see Tovach is full of a ton of teams. EGC somehow going down as well. So a lot of teams are finding their fate now as the circle is going to go middle. C9, once again, is the beneficiary.
As you were talking about, so many teams over there by Tovach now butting heads. 13 teams left, and we are here at one of the end circles. Not much time for either, or any rather, of these teams to make a big play just yet. But VIP, I like their position up on the mountain. Going to be inside the circle. Let's hope they don't get sniped down.
I like VIP's position. I like RRQ's position. RRQ set up exactly what I was talking about on the northwest part of Tovach in a 2-2 split. They are going to be able to, if they're able to execute properly, really make the teams that are having to rotate outside of Tovach pay. VIP looking to put some shots down with that G36 Yakuza, trying to get a few dings in, nothing really catching for him. Trying to put that fishing rod out, but no bites. Here we go, back to GoSkilla. Gonzo, can he do it again? It's going to be him against Elementrix potentially, or you know, Hyozu might just let him go by, but Orange is up here. He's going to try to cook a grenade, see if he can bounce it down the stairs. Maybe, maybe, maybe. This could be good, but no, he's going to put it back in his pocket. Nobody was coming up. He didn't hear the footsteps, so he's thinking, nope, don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's the best way to do it, guys, for you guys at home wondering. Just cook the grenade, you can put it away. I was able to do exactly that, but he still is in a kind of rough spot here on top of this building. Good scouting, though, at the end of it all. He's going to be able to hear exactly where that team does end up going. Go Skilla in the middle of this town.
All right, Red Canids were just a bit outside of the circle. Now, this compound that they're moving up towards now is going to be inside of the next circle just a bit, but most likely it is not going to stay that way. So for now, they're just trying to set up, keep themselves alive, see if they can outlast some of these other teams, try and get a better placement point for themselves. You can see Go went down for Box there. He got knocked. And will the confirm? Oh, Box is taking some damage here. Marco as well gets knocked. So EVOS is putting the hurt onto the Vietnamese team, and you've got VIP up here lobbing some Molotovs, and this is looking very difficult for Box now. Haiku has that Car 98, seeing if he can find some damage. Sai spraying in, and that is going to be EVOS very, very beat up. Skyzy goes down, and what a bad situation for them in Box to be in. And here we go, the battle finally between Go Skilla and Elementrix. Elementrix 2 go down in the fight. It's just Poo Poo Man left. Poo Poo Man is out. He's going up the stairs. He's not really interested in this battle. At this point now, Poo Poo Man needs to be the solo hero for Elementrix.
Yeah, I don't mind his position. He's going to be able to just back away. It would have been real bad if he got knocked down as well there and taken away. But the circle closing in, making a push out here. Looks like one of these teams towards the left side of this wall as Go Skilla still in an okay spot, as you see, but the circle now is going to be the real killer for this team.
Yeah, everybody in Tovach this is what happens when you go into cities. A lot of times the circle leaves you, and then you are in a world of trouble. Team QUESO doing a good job. They maneuver into the center of the circle. We saw this last time, but they weren't able to defend it. VIP up on the high ground, doing a great job punishing all these other teams that cross their sight lines. Ben V, some more shots from up there. I gotta wonder how much darn ammo they have, because they are just shooting at everything. And there is RRQ right below them. So Ben V probably knows that. He's got to be really, really careful. He's just trying to see if he can pick up a few kills onto No Rage, the German team from up here. But again, VIP still in the circle. They've got to worry about Box coming up behind them. And there you go. No Rage has nothing but a blown up Dacia to work with.
And actually, it's not that bad. It's giving them a lot of cover for now, but they do have to move in towards that circle. You were talking about the 7th circle and 11 teams left available here on the map. So everybody's desperately trying to hold on to their positions on this Vikendi, where it can be so rough to get aggressive into these compounds. Yeah, the Cannons are trying to be patient and waiting for the teams that have to cross in front of them to get into the next circle to do so, seeing if they can pick up some kill points. It's going to be really challenging for them to get into the next circle, so I think this is a smart play. Set up on the edge of the city and just go for any of the points you can possibly get. A decent grenade attempt there by Poo Poo Man. That almost catches a member of Go Skilla. He's going to start healing up. Here we go. Go Skilla coming on through. They are in that house, but they are very, very weak. No Rage is getting beat up by VIP up on the mountain, and RRQ as well. So RRQ even gets an angle on them now to make matters worse for them. Put some salt in the wound. No Rage is going to go down. And this is getting really, really dicey on the southeast corner. So many teams down here, and the blue is just going to chunk them through. I'm a big fan of RRQ's position right now. They cover their flank. They pick up a bunch of kills, 7 total now. They move up the hill into the circle, and now they're going to pick up even more.
Yeah, this is great play by RRQ. Patient, disciplined play is going to pay off for them. Ernie on the back flank, though. He is able to cover it, but he is going to get high cool, but Ben V is actually going to find Ernie. So bit of damage traded between those two teams. Let's see if they can find the res. You can see Seniors just shooting up and over, trying to protect their teammates as they get the smokes down, looking to try to find the revives, but Ben V not real interested in letting that happen. Unique is down in the background as well. So a lot of teams falling down. The Canids fall to the blue. There was nothing they could do. They were completely boxed out. That mountain just covers everything with VIP and RRQ up there.
Oh, C9 trying to make a play through the smoke. They're going to make a run for it, but so many members getting knocked out there. A couple, and the car is going to blow up. That is not what you wanted to see for C9.
What incredible shooting by Axial. He rips 2 members right out of that vehicle. Back over to Ben V, who's got the high ground on top of RRQ. RRQ just trying to see if they can get that revive once again. Ben V doing a great job, but now here comes the Japan squad. The all rejection team is up here and trying to get up and over, and oh no, RRQ getting flanked by Team QUESO as well. So many smokes having to be used. They've still got a little utility in the bag there. Now Ben V is in a bit of a trouble. Last member left there for VIP, trying to hold this angle, but man, this is going to be so tough. ARW, if they play this right, should just be able to swamp him out.
They have the best position right now, even better than RRQ, and I'm even at a loss for how they made it up there, but Ben V gonna take one with him at least, will be taken out here at the end, but he gets the kill on Lapis, so probably the best he could have gotten in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting 1 kill there is fantastic, but now ARW's got to duke it out with RRQ. Crazy Gory's going to go down. We've got a couple members from each team going down here. It's going to be DG98. He goes down. Yalla trying to up and over with a grenade from Team QUESO. They're trying to third party this fight. Senior is knocked here. Some damage being done. Yalla pushing forward, knowing full well that he's got RRQ on the run, but AR is behind him as well. He didn't really realize it, and that is going to be it. Wow, QUESO able to push up and over at the right time, catch a bunch of teams fighting on top of the mountain to come out with that chicken dinner.
That was a very interesting ending there. We really were not sure who was going to come out ahead as the #1 team, but I have to say, it felt like Team QUESO was last on my list, and boy, did they prove me wrong, taking out lots of big names.